Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's story. So, grab yourself a comfy blanket and a bowl of popcorn, and let's dive right into this story about the Banshee. In the small, picturesque village of Glens Cairn, nested deep in the Irish countryside, a century old legend whispered through the winds and the ancient trees. It was the legend of the Banshee, a ghostly apparition fo- uh, foretelling death within mournful ways. The village had always been a peaceful tranquility and close-knit community, but this serenity, sorry, was about to be disrupted as the specter of the Banshee began to appear with increasing frequency. Her chilling cries could be heard in the darkest hours of the night, echoing through the mist glens. In the heart of Glens Cairn, there lived a humble family, the O'Malley's, known for their warm hearts and their deep connection to the land. Shane O'Malley, a farmer, his wife Bridget, and their two children, Ian and Sarah, had always lived a peaceful life on their ancestral farm. One fatal evening, as the sun dipped below the rolling hills, casting long shadows across the countryside, a sudden hush fell over the village. The banshee more wills filled the air, chilling the hearts of every villager. The O'Malley's stayed around and health, exchanged obnoxious glances, a sense of unsettlement upon the family, and Shane, the head of the family, household, knew they had to take action. Gathering his family, he spoke with determination. We must find out who the Banshee is wailing for. We must help, for the legend says she appears to guide the souls of the departed. So if you just joined us, you can always watch the replay for the beginning. Thank you for joining us. Okay, where was I? Okay. The O'Malley's embarked on their quest, guided by the distract cries of the banshee. They followed her eerie cries sound to a crumbling ivory-covered castle on the outskirts of the village, known as the O'Sullivan Manor. The castle had long been abandoned as its last living heir had passed away without an heir of his own. As the O'Malleys approached the castle, they heard the banshee cries growling louder and more obnoxious. Sarah shivered, cuddled her mother's hand. The family entered the castle forbidden gates and explored its shadowy halls. In a forgotten chamber, they found a dusty portrait of a young woman, her eyes filled with sadness. The legend of the banshee suddenly began to unveil. Eon, with his father's guidance, looked and up in an old journal. Sorry about that. That spoke of the forbidden love between the young woman, Alicia, O'Sullivan and a dashing poet from a revived clan. Their love had been torn apart by a bitter feud, leading to Ashlin's untimely death in the castle. Her restless spirit had become the Banshee. So just going to move up a bit. In the presence of the portrait, the family vowed to bring peace to Ashlin's tormented soul. They planted wildflowers around her grave and left offerings of fresh bread and sweet honey in her memory. As the days passed, the banshee's wails grew fainter and then finally ceased. The legend was broken, and the villagers of Glancairn returned to its peaceful ways. The O'Malley's had fulfilled their promise, gathering Ashlyn the peace she had longed for. Years later, the family continued to live on their farm, sharing stories of their remarkable encounter with the Banshee, the legend that once haunted the village of Glencairn had become a tale of compassion, forgiveness, and the endurance between the living and the departed. So that goes for that part of the story. Oh, hello, I'm here, I'm here. Hi, I just finished reading one. So I'm going to say hi to a few people here. We got Christina, Vodka, hello. Face the Ace, hello. Thank you for coming. Whoops. And then we have the Bud Files. Hello, the Bud Files. Thank you all for joining me. So, yeah, I get nervous when I read, so I might trip over some words. So, that was the first story. And I have some information and stories that I found on a website about the Banshee. So, I will read it to you. Here we go. The Banshee is a legend or a myth from Ireland about a female ghost who screams sounds like a wild animal. They say that if you hear her whirling, it is warning that one of your loved ones is about to die. This is probably the most famous Irish ghost story. And then I move down. It says, the Banshee is a message of death. In Irish, she is called the Bean Shaheen, which means woman of the burial mounds. The screams of the Banshee foretells of death in the family. Whenever someone is about to die, she appears piercing the still of the night with her screams and cries. The willing of this portrayed ghost sounds like an unearthly demonic howling, and it keeps growing ever loud until the unfortunate person passes away. Let me just get a sip of water. Okay, and just go up a page. Okay. She usually wears either a hood cloak or the winding sheets of the dead are wrapped in before burial. Sometimes she takes the form of a hideous old woman, and at other times she appears as a beautiful young woman just to trick you. She may also appear as a washing woman, washing blood stains clothes in the river. On a few occasions, she has been seen washing severed heads and dismembered limbs before an important disaster. In this guise, she is known as the Ben Knight, the washing woman. So it's a little tongue twister, but I guess we'll get through it. So I'll go down a bit more on the page. Okay, don't make the mistake of thinking the banshee is a kind and benevolent ghost just because she warns of death. The scream of the banshee is a cry of endlight. She hates the living and wants everyone to die. Okay. Then we'll go down more. Whoops, I went too much down. Jeez. Let me just, hold on. I went too much down. Where did I go? Okay. Okay, yeah. So let me just go down just a bit. Mouse, please cooperate with me. Okay. Growing up in Ireland, the old folks would delight in telling us tall tales about the strange and inexplicable spirit that haunts the fields and valleys. The most popular legend was the one about the banshee. I heard many stories of grown men and women running and jumping off across the fields and jumping over ditches if they thought they heard her lonesome, malvoyant, keen echo in the darkness. My parents, this is just what it's written there. It's not my parents or anything there. My parents had a small farm out in the country, as anyone in Ireland will tell you, strange things are known to happen at twilight out in the back of beyond, strange and eerie things, the like of which you wouldn't be able to explain. When I was 10 years old, myself and my little sister Mary were out playing in the fields out of the watchful eye of my parents. We would always be up to some deviant and others. One on this day in particular, we started out further into the woods than we had before. Let me just go down a bit again. Okay. It was late in the afternoon, and the twilight was fast approaching. We were playing a game of hide and seek, running back and forth between the ditch and the trees. My sister was hiding in the tall grass, and I was trotting through it on my hands and knees, searching for her. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a black shape lurking in the ditch. At first, I couldn't make it out, but when I took a closer look, it seemed to be some kind of canvas material. The only way I can describe it is that it looked like a sack of old bones slammed in the ditch. Okay, let me just go down the page a bit. Okay, just then the wind started to blow, and I heard a faint sound cried on the breeze. I stopped in my tracks and listened intensely. It sounded like a sort of wailing, very faint and very distant. The noise was something unnervingly, and it filled me with a strange, strange sense of fear and foreboding. I crouched, I crouched there listening for a while until I noticed some movement in the tall grass to the left of me. The black shape I had seen was now creeping slowly through the grass, coming towards me. As it got closer, the eerie wailing became louder and louder. I stood there, mouth open in terror, watching this omnious bundle of rags come sleeking towards me. The black shape looked like some sort of a tattered robe which was torn and stained with something that resembles blood. I almost jumped out of my skin, my heart banging, pounding so hard I thought it might leap out of my mouth. Sweat was pouring off of me, and I could hear the blood pumping in my ears. Standing bolted upright, I called out to my sister, "Mary," I shouted, "run to mommy." And then I'll put the page down a bit more. Okay. My sister must have heard the fear in my voice because I saw her head appearing over the grass. "Now, Mary, I should run." I didn't need to tell her again. She took off through the fields, running back towards our house. I took off running too, but there was a barbed wire fence up ahead. I looked to my left and saw the black bundle speeding up. It seemed to be trying to overtake me and cut off my only route of escape. I ran like the wind. I ran as fast as I could, and the thing still kept pacing with me. Fear was creeping up my spine like a sack full of spiders. As it came closer and closer, I reached the fence, and with a desperate effort, I leaped over it. The bundle of rags rose from the ground and emitted a blooded, crushing shriek. So, and then I'll put down the page a bit more. Okay. In a panic, I realized I had become snatched on the barbed wire. When I had when I changed to look around and back over my shoulder, I caught sight of the hideous face of an old woman poking her nose out of the tall grass. Tall and thin, pale and hollow, she looked with long white hair flowing out from under the hood. She was like a thing that hooved between life and death. For a moment, our eyes met, and she pointed at me with her long skeleton finger. Then she let out a piercing scream that defamed me. Trembling with fear, I ripped my clothes from off the fence barbed wire, and kept running towards home. When I reached the back garden, I collapsed in the bushes and caught my breath. I lay there in the dirt, panting and sawing like I was like a dog huffing, and starting at the bloodiest stains, staring at the blood stains on my hands. It was then I realized what I had just seen. It was the Banshee, the messenger of death. It was warning of impendable doom. Stumbling, stumbling to my feet, I eventually managed to find the strength to get through the back door. I found my little sister standing in the kitchen. She was deathly silent, and there were tears in her eyes. Our mother was lying dead on the floor. So, what do you guys think of that story? I have another one. Well, the page is not completely finished, so. Uh, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. So, I guess that'll be it for tonight. Hi, Randy. Unknown. Oh, Robbie, hello. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to take a sip of water. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you missed the beginning, you can always watch the replay. And I would like to do an announcement saying that I've worked on my membership plan and it should be ready soon. So keep an eye out for it. And I hope you guys have an awesome week this week. And I would like to thank you very, very much for spending a little time here with me. It's really appreciated. So, thank you, sis. You're so awesome yourself, too. Yeah, one day I'll be less nervous when I read and I won't be tripping over the words. I'm just starting this. I'm new at this. I'm a newbie. So guys, that'll be it for tonight. I want you all to have a wonderful week coming. And if you like this live stream, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more live streams like this. And I'll see you around the broom somewhere. Love you all very much. I hope you know that.